Welcome to RoadTripja, the heartbeat of Jamaica's road. It's been a while since we last said that, and thank you for being so patient with us. I want you to realize something. This is a message to all Jamaicans, those who are local and those who are international, or even interregion if you don't want to consider yourself international. So, Jamaica is changing. Yes, Jamaica is changing, and it's not changing for the worst in all aspects. It is actually changing for the better. And what is it that we're saying? We are saying that we as a people have finally found the vision to take matters into our own hands and serve our people with dignity and integrity. I know that many years prior to now, the 1960s, Jamaica was devastatingly violent. Yes, in the 70s, it was like Armageddon, the end of the world. In the 80s, it was cooling down. We had many financial scandals, we had many financial improprieties. We have had a season in which schools which were supposed to be built were not built. We had less than half the amount that we were supposed to have. So a lot has taken place. We have been marred by a history of negativity. But our business here is not to dwell on the negativity, but to embrace the positivity, to embrace that which is taking precedence in this season. Yes, Jamaica, that you may have been accustomed to 10, 20, 30 years ago, it's not the same Jamaica anymore. We are moving into a new season. We are going back to the place where we should have been years ago. But I know that political turmoils, political atrocities, animosities have caused us to fall short. Corruption, yes, that there still exists, but we have put measures in place to safeguard against those corruptions. It's not perfect, but it's working, and people are being held relatively for the indiscretions, especially when it comes on to the utilization of public funds. Yes, we know that the rule makers are not the rule keepers. The rule makers make the rules for those persons who are below so that they can keep the rules, so they can protect themselves. We understand all of that, but things are changing. We are now having a more homogeneous Jamaica, and I want you to be a part of that Jamaica. So many persons are abroad planning to come home, while others are abroad and are being sent home. And I just want us to touch on this just briefly. To the Jamaican people, a word on our returned citizens. Yes, what we considered our returned citizens are persons who were, we considered, deported. Deportation, I want you to understand, is not a disgrace. Not because someone was deported mean that they did something bad. But I want you to understand that being deported is a turning point. I don't want you to think bad or negatively because of the situation that these persons may be engaging in or are put in. Sometimes life doesn't work out the way that you plan it. And when you don't have the guidance and the support, then things can take a turn real quickly, especially when you're in a foreign land. And a lot of you may be saying, You were abroad for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, 90 years, and you never sent down a dollar. Yes, that may be true for some persons, but guess what? Did you count the cost of living internationally? Do you understand the perplexities that they had to deal with while they were international? Do you understand the kind of lifestyle that they had to live while they were outside of the protection and the covering of their families? They were a stranger in a strange land. Yes, what if they were not making enough to send so that everybody could be satisfied? We have to move away from the idea that we have to embrace and get remittance from persons who are overseas, from our family. We have to stop that. We have to stop that. Jamaica is too rich to be depending on those who are overseas. The persons who are overseas are usually the ones which the international community scout, look for, pick them up, carry them overseas, all right? So what is happening is that the best and brightest minds usually are the ones that are scouted and taken from our countries and taken to the foreign lands to work. And you may be saying, so we don't have best and brightest minds in Jamaica? Yes, we have a few brilliant minds in Jamaica. But majority of the brilliant people are not in Jamaica, and we just have to agree and accept that. Look at it. Have you seen one of the most prolific leaders in the history of Jamaica in terms of finance? Is he still in Jamaica? Or was he scouted and then he was transitioned into international territory? That is how the world operates. It is supply, demand, and resource allocation. Who has the better resources? Who has the better positioning? Who has the better setup? They are the ones who end up winning. What is it that we're saying? Not everybody will be able to go overseas, and you don't have to go overseas to make it either. You can make it from home because the world has opened up. I know that importing things in Jamaica is so difficult because they charge you a arm and a leg. You pay 2-3 times the price that you pay for the item, so you're buying it 3 times when you only want one. Yes, we understand that, and that there is what we call taxation. But in the American vernacular, we would call that a tariff. So yes, the government of Jamaica has imposed the tariffs or taxation upon certain goods at a particular value, which makes them more expensive. So a car that is in China for $10,000, when it comes to Jamaica, you'll have to pay like 2 times, which would be about $20,000 after you pay all those fees. You pay 2 times for the car. So things don't have to be so expensive. Yes, we understand that. But Jamaica is still changing, and it's changing for the better. I want you to be a part of that change. So now back to the persons who are sent home to reintegrate. I want you to be careful of how you express negative sentiments to these persons. We don't know what they had to go through. We don't know their atrocities. We don't know if they were in a slavish lifestyle. We don't know if they were held captive. We don't know if they were trafficked. We don't know anything. So I want you to keep your negative comments about these individuals to yourself. If it's not going to build them, give them an opportunity so they can start over afresh. If you're not going to welcome them with open arms, just keep your ideologies, keep your ideations to yourself. Nobody needs to hear them. Because if you speak negatively towards them, you are speaking negatively towards yourself, because they are your brothers and your sisters. Not because the man or the woman didn't send back any money for you doesn't mean that you should not put him up. You can be a good human. You don't have to give to get. Is that the kind of Jamaica that we're living in? No, that's not the kind of Jamaica. And if you are not going to put up that person, then guess what? Someone else will. And to all those persons who may have been relocated from their country of international embarkment to their homeland in Jamaica or elsewhere, I am going to implore you to find yourself a community. The first community that I would encourage you to find is to find a church. And one church that I can recommend is the Adventist Church. They have systems in place to get you back on your feet. So, whichever constituents you are in, try to find one of those churches. Or if you know of another church that does support work for persons in reintegration, then you can go to that church. It doesn't have to be that church. But remember that mistakes have been made. God is willing to forgive you for the mistakes that you have made. So the people around you, the least they can do is forgiving you. Because I know that the one who is saying negative things, they are not without fault. They have done things which were probably questionable or could compromise their character, their integrity, had it been known. So let us not be too hasty to cast the first stone. Let us have some compassion. Let us not treat these people as strangers. If they are your family member, embrace them. Help them as they make the right steps to reintegrate. Help them to get their NIS back together. Help them to get their social connections together. Help them to get their TRN. Help them to get their passport sorted out if they didn't have a passport, their driver's license if they have that. So help them to get back on their feet so that they can go back out into society to help to develop it. We have to look out for each other. We have to be our brother's keeper. They can be redeemed. Remember, they don't have to do something wrong. And you may be saying that you have been in America or been in United States or been in England, Canada, wherever you have been, Germany, Australia, wherever you have been for all these years and you're not a citizen. What were you doing? Remember, to make the transition, it's a hurdle of paperwork, and not everybody is built for that. And if you're going to work those paperwork, guess what? You're going to have to pay money. And if you're going to be paying money, it's going to be taken away from the money that you'll be sending home. So now you understand why they probably could not be sending the money back home. So a lot of factors exist. People, when they're overseas, they may be drowning in debt and you don't even know back home. You know that we don't believe in having debts. We don't believe in taking on burdens that we are not fully equipped to carry with a cash value, a cash deployment. You know that we don't play those kind of games. But majority of the persons don't follow those principles, so they find themselves being a prisoner of a system which they had no business being a part of. We want you to be free. So know that you're back home in Jamaica, or know that you know a relative that is back home who may have been repositioned or sent home to spend extended time outside of their direct will or intention. I want you to just embrace them and help them to get back on their feet. If there's a skill that they have, try to utilize that skill, because the devil find work for idle hands. So don't let these people find themselves idle. Help them. Be your brother's keeper. Listen first. Create opportunities. Offer them respect. Do not ridicule the situation, because it could happen to you. You could be as educated as you want to be. When you go to a foreign land, you are not equal to the people in that land, no matter where you find yourself on the spectrum. And that is just something that you have to understand. If mentorship is needed, give them mentorship. If counseling is needed, give them the counseling. But as a people of Jamaica, let us be our brother's keeper. Walk good. And until next time, signing out from RoadTripja, the heartbeat of Jamaica's road, is Dr. A. Walk, ride, drive, and fly good until we meet again. Continue to be your brother's keeper.